Can't stop me. I was told to start the meeting. I'm sorry. Excellent. Thank you so much. Good morning and welcome to the Natural Resources Preservation Advisory Board meeting on February 5, 2025 at 11 o'clock. Long time no seen, right? We just were here last week. Kindly silence your cell phone. Kind reminder also to myself, please silence your cell phones. Agenda item 2, roll call. Mrs. DeHart, please call the roll.
Member Jones? Member Newman? Member Villegas? Member Bloomberg? Chairperson Nestle?
Here.
Thank you.
Excellent. So now please all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Approval of the agenda. Is there a motion to approve the agenda as presented?
So moved. So moved.
Is there a second? Thank you. All in favor say yes. Yes. Any opposed say no. Great. So then we can move to the agenda as suggested. Are there any public comments? I don't think there are any public comments. No, it's basically the town. We've discussed it in the previous meetings and add things to the agenda. And we also added things just a week ago. So those are now on the agenda as well. I just have a quick remark from the Turtle team, from Joanne Ryle, who just texted me to say that she will report again on March 1st, when the turtle season starts. And they're having a thank you party tomorrow for the Turtle team. So the 30+ volunteers, they're having a celebration thank you party tomorrow for all the Turtle team. And she's especially thanking the town for letting them have their booth and their table at the Jingle Mingle event in December. So a big thank you to the town from the Turtle team. They had a great outcome and they sold for about $500–600. They sold merchandise, cards, and little gadgets. So it was a very successful event for them as well. That's just as a quick public comment from the Turtle team.
Where is that? The thank you party?
I'll come let you know.
Okay.
It's in a pub in I think Irish pub in Delray Beach on Federal Highway.
Yeah.
I can tell you after the meeting.
I have.
Yeah. Any more public comments? I hear somebody. No. Okay. Excellent. So if we do not have any more public comments, we can move to the presentations, agenda item number 6, and I refer this item to Town Planner Allen. Thank you.
Hey, good morning, everybody. As you can see under presentations, we have Beach Rakers, and I discussed your conversation that you had at your special meeting on January 29th with the town manager, Mr. Marshall Labadie. So he is here, and I will give him the floor to talk about Beach Rakers. If you'll recall back last week when you brought it up, I mentioned there's quite a bit of history on the Beach Rakers. The commission brought in the Beach Rakers in 2021. So Mr. Labadie will kind of give you some input on the whole beach raking situation. Sure.
Thanks. All right, gang.
21.
As Ingrid stated, Marshall Labadie, town manager. Your interest in beach raking, being early in February, it's Groundhog's Day, right? So how many times and how we've tried to work and addressed beach raking over the last, let's say 15 years. So in 2010, a little bit before that through 2012, the town spent a lot of time. We had a consultant come in. We worked at getting quotes from the beach rakers. We went through developing a special assessment district where we would assess the cost to all residents to do it with one vendor, but continue to do beach raking. That never got off the ground. Costs, establishing the special assessment district, there was never an interest to continue with it after adequate discussion. 2018 or about July of 2018, with change of leadership at the town, the issue came back up again. So we spent about another year and a half with elaborate discussions in the community over should we pass certain ordinances to regulate beach raking? Should we only do mechanical? And if we do mechanical, what limits do we place on the use? And that's basically tractors. Should we prohibit tractors and just do manual raking? So we started going down with that. Then we had Dr. Roshenko and Dr. Milton review our ordinance, told us to change some of those things. Then we started bringing it back for public discussions. This body was part of it at that point in time to discuss beach raking. A lot of the concern focused on ruts and focused on plastics tied up with the sargassum. Because if you do recall, 19 was a really bad year. That summer was terrible for sargassum. Then again, just on a side note, they're projecting this year could be bad again as they're seeing it coming out of the Sargassum Sea. They're seeing a big mass of it. At least USF tracks it. I can't remember the doctor that does that, but she's saying it's looking like it's moving and it could be big again. And then a lot of it came over burial. Everybody said, oh, the beach rakers are burying trash. Well, they're burying the seaweed. 99% of it's seaweed. There is trash and plastics bound up into it. There's a lot of energy around this. We brought the beach rakers in, discuss it more. And then in 2019, the commission at some of the guidance and direction of Natural Resource Board said to leave it as it is, let the DEP control. And then as we get complaints and we, again, are in constant communication with the DEP, when we do see ruts, what should be done, we forward any complaints we get from residents. Generally comes from a resident, and that's generally what's been driving it. We have a very passionate resident about beach rakers. I bet you've met him, but he's very passionate about it, right? So there's nothing wrong with that. And he has his concerns and shares those with us on a regular basis. Change of leadership again on the Natural Resource Advisory Board. The passionate resident reaches the new chair of the Natural Resource Advisory Board. Beach raking comes back up. What do we want to do? We go through this. We bring the beach rakers back in for a joint presentation with the Natural Resource Board and the commission. Everybody came to the same thing, the cost and limitations as we have no access to our beach. We have no vehicle access. They're going in from Spanish River. They're popping out at Atlantic Dunes. There's no beach access to move it out. They are permitted by the state of Florida to bury the seaweed in the wet sand. They're supposed to traverse the beach. Here's the most recent one. Traverse the beach at the high water mark, right? You're supposed to stay in the wet sand as tractors go by because this resident does not want the tractors in his yard. That's fine. We have a lot of private property to the wet sand in Highland Beach, which is the biggest challenge. We don't have a big public beach, lots of access. Everybody's ownership rights, for the most part, go to the high water mark. So we went and worked with the DEP again on concepts of customary use. It's a big thing in Florida. You'll probably read stuff. If you go home and Google it, you'll read a lot of stories about customary use because the complaints generally from our resident in question really are driven at high tides, especially. The king tides move in. The tractors then seem to be moving closer up onto that property. High water mark is established over a 19-year measurement by the DEP. Where is that high water mark? It goes on and on. The town has taken the position to allow the private property owners to engage the beach rakers as they see fit to manage the property. Most folks use the beach rakers to keep their beaches clean. There's a series of additional restrictions that are placed during turtle season. The turtle teams actually work with them and the beach rakers. And at that time, Barbara James, who was the head of the, before Joanne Ryan, was Barbara James came in and said she really likes their help because they help move stuff out of the way, obstructions, things of that nature. When we get random wash-ups, the beach rakers do help the turtle team move those things around and they understand those limitations. They start a little bit later because we used to get time of start complaints. They've started raking. Now, the rutting does happen from time to time. We pass it on to the DEP. The commission was not interested in putting somebody on the beach every day, chasing the rakers, checking tire pressures, seeing what's being raked, not raked, how much trash, not. It's a lot of private property here. The commission has chosen not to get engaged in that. And I would always tell you, if you take something from the state, they're never coming back, and then you own it. And that's problematic that we won't get their assistance as much. Again, I understand and appreciate our residents' concern that he continues to bring it up. It's his passion. No problem.
I'm sorry, I have a quick question.
Sure.
When was the last time this was brought up?
In
Was it-
21.
Oh,
and,
21, okay.
in March of 21, the commission sent its letter around customary use to the DEP. Ingrid helped me write that letter. So basically we sent it out to DEP, said customary use, king tides. We're seeing these same problems. Do something. It's your program, your permits that are in place. And again, this is not on the strategic priorities plan. So if based on your discussions to move forward and you want to sponsor it, it would go to the town commission and they would have to determine if it's something on their radar screen to tackle. We've done it about every 3 to 5 years, and it doesn't get any further because of, from what I discern through all this, this is just my opinion, access and private property. That's really what's driving it. If we were Pompano or if we were Fort Lauderdale, we have all those public access, big beach, we could do a lot more to control it. And the latest one was really on how do we get the sargassum off? They said, don't bury it. We were going to, in 2018, we were saying, you can't bury any of the sargassum. You got to take it off. And they said, well, that you're talking $3 to $4 million to truck it off during season because there's so much of it. And that's why the DEP grants a wet sand burial. Basically, they kind of push it back into the ocean. Again, it's very cosmetic at times, especially at high sargassum. You're not really doing much outside of keeping excessive amounts in the water or slightly buried on there. Dr. Rashenko, I think from Gumbo Limbo, actually in a written report stated he prefers the sargassum to get buried because it helps with some sand accretion and building that dune face up to bury it. Some people want it up on the surface. Other people, like Dr. Rashenko says, it's good to bury it. So when it's really bad, there's nothing you can do. Pluses and minuses for the environment, to the turtles, access, no access, the habitat structures that it could or couldn't provide. Gets a little dicey when it's high volume. When it gets, you remember when it starts stacking up 2 to 3 feet tall, we're kind of, beach raking is almost, immaterial. It doesn't really help out much except for the day where they do it and then it comes back. So I just wanted to give you a little bit of history to kind of frame your discussion wherever you want to go with it. I can give you more of the history to it because it has a long history. So that's why I was kind of, jokingly, Groundhog Day keeps on coming back. In a small town, as soon as leadership changes on the Natural Resource Advisory Board, the resident finds an opportunity to remind everybody that it's an important issue. It hasn't left staff. We kind of deal with it on a regular basis, with tire pressures and whatnot. But for the most part, we leave that to the DEP. We generally send communications on a regular basis, speak with them. But again, with the private property going to that, telling a condo you can't do it, found out to be an issue. For a lot of condos want to keep that beach. Now to say you got to hand rake it, you're going to need 10 or 15 people a day raking it up, bagging it. That cost really panicked some condo associations that wasn't didn't have the appetite for that or to just leave it either. Especially during season, you get a lot of our snowbirds come in, they want to go to the beach. They want to keep it nice and groomed and clean. So I just wanted to give you a little background before you jump off into it. And I'm here to answer any questions. Ingrid and I help you get through your discussions, but there's just a long history to it. I just don't want you to think like we've never talked about beach raking here.
I have a question.
Yeah, sure, go ahead.
When you spoke with the beach rakers about how they're burying and what they're burying, what was it, how was it left in terms of what they're supposed to take out of this sargassum as they're going along?
Sure, right. So that was a big, when Chip and Clayton, so Clayton is the owner of Universal, Chip owns Beach Rakers, and they pretty much have 50-50 split on the raking on our beach. Those are the two companies that do it. So they came in and a lot of those questions were brought up because we were really concerned about the plastics, right? We don't want a lot of that left there. And some people say, oh, they're just burying trash. Well, the thing is, a lot of it comes in, as you know, through the Bahamas, picks up trash, shoreline out there, trash comes in. They and I'm just going to rephrase what they said. So whether you agree with them or not, this is their statement is they do the best they can to get out as much trash. So the trash that's big enough for them to get out, they do now are little pieces of plastic, cigarette butts and the like tied up in it. They said yes, but again, they have big rakes behind it. They're not going to get all the little pieces of it. And the difference between our shoreline, as you know, versus the Gulf Coast, the types of equipment that can be used are somewhat different because they do have raking machines, but they need more of a hard bottom, thinner sand to kind of rake through it, where we have more of that coarse sugar sand and more steeper shoreline slopes. So it gets difficult to just run like a machine cleanly across it, you know. But they say, and we have witnessed them taking it out, but his stuff inevitably does get tied up in there that gets pushed back into the wet sand. That's true, it does.
They also don't like getting out of their trucks. We've watched them drive by.
And again, I noticed that too. And I think it's sometimes a change of drivers, and that's where we find ourselves. And maybe we're at that point in time of the courtesy reminders back to them, get out of your truck, do these things. Sometimes they get new drivers that, a little bit complacent and aren't as vigilant or have not been reminded of what our expectations are. Because all my conversations with the DEP, we're the one town that has any concerns about beach raking. So when I talk to them, the DEP is like, from Martin County to Key West, you're the only place that has concern and complaints about it. So they know we're watching
Who's
it.
saying
And
that? Who's saying that?
the DEP.
Oh,
Yeah,
seriously?
we're the ones that really are when I call, they're like, Highland Beach, and let me guess, is it resident X? And I'm like, well, yeah, he's got some real concerns. They're legitimate. They're on his property. Of course, he's got legitimate concerns. So everybody goes through the exercise to start reminding the drivers to check tire pressures. Do they? I don't know. You could probably jump off on your own conclusions on, are they really riding at 10 PSI? I'm doubting it, but those are things we have to go over.
I've been here 29 years and I live 3 doors down from our person.
Mhm.
And I really think the problem is, I mean, I see the owners I know both owners.
Mhm.
No, I know Clayton. I don't know Chip. Sorry. I see him get off the truck, but when there's other drivers in there, sometimes they don't do it.
Right.
But I think all these other places don't complain because they're bringing sand in. So their beach is not so narrow.
Right.
So I think our main problem is, and I don't know, and I've been saying this for 28 years. We had to get sand during Sandy. Nobody realized that Sandy hit us, but we had come down here
Pulls
and
it all out. Yeah.
pulled it all out. I mean, I lost my entire dune. I lost my stairs. I lost the pavers going to my back door. I mean, I lost everything. It was like a cliff. So we had a emergency. Thank God the town let us bring sand in right away. Thank God I know one of the builders in town who's now retired, but he got, we got the proper sand and did everything. But I don't understand. I know maybe with Melania Park now we can get sand. I mean, I don't understand. I think it's too small. So why we can't bring sand in? I mean, and if we have to do it as a private community, okay, we have tons of residents that Bellito, everybody that uses the beach could go in their pocket for an assessment. These condos have 100 units in them. I mean, why couldn't we assess people to take care of where they live? I just don't. Maybe I'm too naive.
We had that conversation. That really didn't get off the ground. Assessing the cost to do a beach restoration, that really, talk about sand in the gears, that really slowed down any conversations of, we're going to spend, at that time, I do remember we had that conversation. It probably would have been in 22, the commission said, what would that look like? And we said, that could be $20 to $30 million for a one-time sand application. We didn't qualify for Army Corps. We didn't have a public beach. Public beach only goes a quarter mile each edge of its north and south limits. And as soon as I said the number, everybody was like, well, that's cool. And then that was, it just went down. So that's why we got into the update to that sand, the study that you guys wanted to get reauthorized. That was our option. Let's go back and do another assessment. How bad is it? Because, 20, 30, $40 million is not something that appears to be doable collectively to get everybody to agree to a special assessment or the commission to go out on a limb and say, now homeowner, you're going to be paying $12,000 to $15,000 to do it. Some residents come forward. Yeah, absolutely. Let's do it. Others have been like, maybe we need to restore the dune and let it naturally go. And what we're finding is that cycle. It's unfortunately the cycle of the beach. Some years we have more accretions, then we have erosion. Sometimes the dunes get hammered, then the dunes reestablish themselves. So the work you guys are doing with saving the dune structures, hopefully we get more and more traction with time, is really the most cost-effective option. But we did try that. Like we looked
Yeah, and
into
it's
it and they're
in
like,
the middle of
Yeah.
But it's-
Delray and Boco,
but
when they replenish, we're in the middle. So we're getting all the.
But it's actually two separate topics.
Right.
This is
right.
the beach raker
Yeah, right,
topic.
right.
That's the sand
We're on a
topic. That's
Yeah, I was
completely
bringing
different
it up
topics.
because we're talking about the beach.
The
I
right.
Just-
we're talking about the
talking
On the
about
note of
fronts.
the topic of the sand, I've spoken to multiple say experts. They say like we can spend 30 million, and I was pro doing this, and I would be happy to pay 20,000 to restore our nature. However, there's lots of voices that say the sand comes and goes, and it will erode again, and will end up in Boca, and then we cross-finance Boca, and we also get a lot of sand
But
from
every
Delray and
community
Boca.
it does that in. And
No.
for 29 years, everybody's been fighting this battle. So I mean.
I'm not trying,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
this is not my opinion. I would be
No.
willing to spend the money,
No,
me
I know that
personally.
opinion, but it's just.
But that's the explanation that it's not so easy. It's not like you put the sand there and we're done and dusted. I think then the town
Now,
will probably
you have
be.
to dredge the sand like Boca does in Delray, but we're sucked in from both of them because when they put New Beach, we're like this little horseshoe.
well,
around
we
them.
do gain the advantage when Delray does it. It does that longshore drift pushes it up to us. So we actually benefit. The Boca, it's irrelevant per se because we got the Yamato rock. We don't get much effect from the Boca
No.
sand that much, but the Delray, whenever they do it,
Yeah,
a
but-
third of it comes to Highland Beach, which is nice. We don't pay for it. It comes down.
It comes
That's
to
the Army Corps effect. So the Army Corps, pays for that
North
part.
Highland Beach, but I'm in the south.
Yeah,
We're
but
neighbors.
how
Yeah,
about when
that's
they
south
have
We
the
have nothing.
machine
Yeah.
opposite my house and they're dredging from my ocean. I mean.
And that's
yeah.
why we talked about it because those are waters of the state and lands of the state.
Right.
So those, what they call borrow pits that are sitting out there, conceivably, they won't do it. So they say, Miami's asked to come up here and pump out all our sand. So, I mean, we're reaching that limit. Probably, I just had the conversation with some folks in Manalapan. We're probably reaching that in the next 10 to 15 years. Our borrow pit's dry. So there's nothing left to take out in front of Highland Beach. And if we were to ever do it, then we have to go truck it. And then how you have to qualify the sand from an on-site location or inland location, and the granular size, the color, then you got to truck it. We don't have access. We can't get to it. So I know our rep, Peggy Gossett-Seidman, had worked on that a little bit too, trying to get reserve some. What if we get hit by a hurricane and need to restore our beach? We don't get any of that ever. Well, it's part of the state, so they can determine where they allocate it. They say they try to keep it regional from think Martin County, Vero Beach, down to Fort Lauderdale could conceivably use it. They try to quantify that, but Boca's got its eyes on it probably for the next 20 years because they have an approved renourishment program authorized by the state and the Army Corps. They've determined it to be a critical beach area. We have some pieces of it, but not our entire beach. Never got qualified. So in order to get nourishment, we'd actually have to go through the engineering process to qualify our beach as critically eroding. So I'm not trying to pull air out of your bubble. So keep going. I'm just saying
Just
a
looking
lot
at
of
the
those things really work against us when we want to, renourish beach rakers. We got 2 rakers, a lot of private property where if you tell a condo they can or can't do something, they get very vocal and push back. So those are the kind of the conversations that we've been through over the last 15 years trying to do that. On a positive side, there's a lot of energy having these conversations now, especially with beach health. You guys are ahead of the curve. I've recommended other municipalities follow your lead doing that beach assessment and feasibility study. It's very good to do. So Manalapan, my former assistant's the town manager there. So he would like to start forming a more collective coastal group to start having these same, because just like us, they do the same cycle every 3 to 5 years. They get new leadership and they're like, why aren't we doing something, as though we've never talked about it? So maybe we take a better opportunity to communicate across that whole South County area as to what's going on. There's a little bit different. They've been doing it since the 40s for Palm Beach. They have those machines. You see it in the Coastal Star. It's the cover story right now. So, I mean, you can see the energy behind it. But they do a lot of dredging at the inlets to renourish Palm Beach. So, yes, sir.
Getting back to the actual beach raking. I think of raking, I think of having a rake that you pull behind the machine. I very rarely see them raking. I just see them just riding down the beach, putting grooves on the beach. Whether the beach can be perfectly clean, and we clean the beach, and we're trying to get more people to clean the beach, and we're trying to get community to get more involved. So the beach is pretty clean, at least in our section of the beach. And so they're just taking a nice beach, and they're just putting ugly ruts on the beach. They're not raking. I use the term.
They do rake it.
I call Clayton. He won't return my call. He got tired of hearing from me.
Well, I'm getting that maybe I need to call, give them a reminder. Yeah. Like I need to little quick tune up with everybody, what the rules are, and let them know that the energy's coming back. So maybe it's maybe from the manager's office, I'll maybe write up maybe more of an annual reminder meeting with the rakers, that kind of stuff on my end. So just so I can feel like we've talked to them recently.
Also, just so you know, both beach companies have different properties on the beach and they cross each other. So some people don't pay for the beach raker, so they go around them. Example, 3 doors down from it. Yeah.
I
So
tried to get them to just split the town, and I'll be obvious in public, split it at
Yeah,
Paddock's
yeah.
property, go south and north from there. And then you know where to start and stop.
What are they actually accomplishing? The time of the year where there's no seaweed.
Just stick room in the beaches.
The beach is clean, and then the beach is beautiful, the tides come in, it's nice and just pristine. And then these guys come in and just put their ruts on the beach. Now, are they accomplishing anything, or are we just getting, because that's just pollution.
It's individual contracts
Yeah.
with each property.
Yeah, but
So
what are they accomplishing? That's what we're an environmental-
But this is not upon us.
It's
We had
surface
this
surface
discussion
cleaning.
in our condo, which months we want to pay for it. And for us, it wasn't really about money. It was for those reasons. We said they're not doing anything. They're ruining our beach. So we're only paying them for certain months where we want them, which is the summer months, when we really want the seaweed to be buried. My main issue is, and I think an annual reminder is certainly warranted, but it's also telling them that residents are watching them. And I have tons of videos and photos, and I sent it to them. They know it, with evidence that they don't get off the truck. They are lazy. They're driving fast. They couldn't care less. And they don't pick up trash. I don't blame them for not picking up the little pieces. They're mixed with seaweed, and they cannot. I've watched the session on December 7, 2021 is the date, and I printed it. I lost it, but I've brought it here. I don't know where it went. But it's December 7, 2021. You can watch the video. All the arguments, you beautifully summarized it, is on the video. Sadly, the write-up, the minutes, is very short.
Yeah, it is.
But you summarized it beautifully. Cost issues, turtles, how far they can go with private property, all of those topics come up. And I'm with you. I understand it legally, that's the limitations. But there is no excuse for big trash pieces, bottles, heavy pieces. And there's a lot of heavy pieces that we can't even lift. I can't even lift it to the next trash can because it's heavy. If I had a truck, I could do it, but I can't carry it for 500 yards. So they need to get off the truck and put it in their back, and they have plenty of space. I know there's not much access. There's not that much trash that they can't do one drive, pick it all up, and then wherever they go to the dump it. And I think that's the reminder they need to have. And they have a lot of angry residents that will start calling them, and not just them, but also the government. And I'm surprised that they were the only ones who I'm surprised that the FDP is stating that we're the only town with complaints.
Yeah, that I'm
is
pretty, well,
shocking.
I'm not really shocked because, you know, we're a private beach or.
Yeah, it's kind of the unique part is the
It's
private
very
beach
unique,
component. The
and
rest are
the
public for
beach
the most
is
part.
so narrow, you know, so I think that's a big part of it.
Getting back to the, sure, trying to get into the discussion, is that you have a beach that's clean. Now, they just go to the beach and pollute the air with their fumes and put ruts on the beach. So, I think that's that's certainly offensive to me. That this time, and especially this time, you're probably 6 months of the year, you're accomplishing, from what I can tell, absolutely nothing, unless.
But David, with all respect, we just explained it's private property. There's nothing the town can do. If condo XYZ hires the company,
Right.
They're not.
the only legal thing,
Yeah, no, they're really-
then you're a lawyer too, so you get it. You can't interfere.
It's like you were screaming, making a lot of noise. You're in your condo, but you're disturbing the neighborhood. There's
That's
gotta be a
nuisance,
way that
yeah.
Because I look out my window, I'm lucky enough to live directly on the beach. And I look out on the beach in the early and it's beautiful. And then these guys go through and they put their crews on the beach. They're driving through, they're not braking, they're just driving through. Fairly fast. And I know in the summer they're doing something with the sargassum, but in the wintertime, they're just polluting the beach. And what are they accomplishing? What is it, are they doing anything?
But
or is it
we're
just-
turning around here. I think the only way to stop this would be by the town, by basically prohibiting the service.
So
I think
would you,
that would be
yeah,
the
that would
other-
be, that's the,
That would be
for your
because
research, if you want to get to it. In the meantime, would you like me to send a letter on behalf of the Natural Resource Advisory Board to the beach raker companies expressing your concerns and the residents, kind of the annual, get out of the rig, pick up the trash, don't rut it out? Or do you want to sign it? I could sign it on your behalf, or do you guys want to sign it, or?
I think that's a great idea.
that's a great action.
But I don't mean to contradict you, but certain people are paying these people. They have to have access. They can't go through anybody's backyard. They only have Spanish River and Atlantic Dunes to get in and out. So they have to go by. I mean, but if everybody stopped paying them for certain months, then they wouldn't have to access, but
Maybe-
certain
maybe they
residents
could
do.
start the beach rakers, but there's no rake. There's nothing. behind
There is
it.
a rake behind it.
No, there is a rake, but they only,
There is a rake, but they're not using it.
they're not using it if they don't have to. And then they just drive.
Yeah.
But they usually use that.
We'll make sure they're supposed to be in the wet sand when they drive by, not drifting
I
up
think that's
above the
a
high
great
water mark.
idea, an annual reminder.
Okay.
They're just running the beach.
I think an annual reminder.
But I
to
wouldn't,
the,
I wouldn't call it an annual reminder. I would be harsher. I would say residents have brought it up.
Harsh. You want
And-
harsh? Okay, I got it.
And
I got it.
residents are watching you and will
Yeah.
keep emailing and calling you.
Sure, I will.
And also
They-
the
they-
government, yeah.
they
We have to
respond.
ask.
It's so funny because when those guys dumped all the cocaine a couple of years ago in the beach
Yeah.
and it washed up, at 7 a.m. Now they dumped it at about 5 the afternoon before. We had guys walking behind the beach, both beach rakers.
Walking very
picking up-
quickly, I take it?
Picking up cocaine. I mean, and we reported it to the police. We told them, look, you've got these guys out there picking stuff
Yeah.
up. What the heck's going on? That's how we found out about it. But I mean, when they're motivated, I'm sure they were paid for that.
Is there a way
So-
to actually rake behind them instead of just? is there a-
You pay them, they'll rake. So I think sometimes when you may not be paying, that's why the rake's up and they're just shooting by. But sometimes they get,
We're paying. They're-
Are paying.
Okay, so then you you should tell them, whenever you go by, please keep your rake down to get rid of the.
I would talk to your
con.
condo management group
Yeah.
or your president. If you feel they're not doing the job that you guys are paying them for, I would tell them to make a point to say, you better start raking. I'm paying you whatever that number is, per month to rake. I would remind them quickly.
But it becomes a contractual issue. It's a private contract, so the condos would have to have those
Yes,
discussions. So it has to come from the condos, and I think we're going to be talking about the condos later. We could, when we reach out to them about dune restoration, we could also bring up beach raking and say, look, if you have a contract, make sure you enforce it and make sure they don't bury trash and so forth.
And we'll copy the state on this letter too, so the state knows that we're trying to get them back in. I'm still waiting for a good answer on customary use. They're still not wanting to give me that answer during king tides. Does the high water mark allow them to go further, or do they just not work? And I haven't got the DEP to render that opinion, because basically that high water mark moves landward another 20 feet, so they come up further.
Mhm.
And I know that really gets Mr. Paddock's gall when they come way up onto his property during king tides. And so I got to ask him, does that establish customary use during king tides, or do you have to stop until the tides go back out or lower? So I will get on that letter for you all. And then I'll get you a
Thank
copy
you.
and we'll go from there. And if you need anything else, just let us know. We'll provide background history. I got a long file history on it. So
It was helpful.
yeah, whatever you need.
Thank you so much.
Yep.
Thanks.
So that's the beach raker topic. So we've ticked that one with a great action item. And I think we all just have to keep being active on this one.
Chair Nessel, I did have just a few more updates.
Yes.
Town planner.
Yeah, we're still town planner updates. Yeah.
So on your meeting last week, your special meeting, there was some suggestions about having another event with the public, having Mr. Mann come back out. You talked about having a Saturday event and then possibly having some sort of cooperation or some sort of dual heading, if you wish, with a wine company, a wine tasting. So I did talk with the town manager about that, and he's fine with doing that. But again, the chair, you may want to ask for one of the board members to volunteer to reach out to some sort of wine tasting company to kind of coordinate that. And then once all that is put together in a little bit of a package, then we could go ahead and I could present it to the town manager. I know you were thinking about, there was discussion about doing it now in February, March for the season. I don't know how feasible that is. I guess it depends how quick someone on the board can reach out to a wine tasting company, but yeah, Saturday event. There are certain days at the library, I don't think the hours are full-time hours. I could check real quick what their hours are on Saturday. So might want to discuss that on your, amongst the board.
That is great news. Have
Great
you
news,
discussed
fabulous.
cost with
Pardon?
have you discussed the budget for this? Or would that,
Not necessarily, you all need to come up with a plan, what you
Yeah.
want. Again, the price for Mr. Mann at the last November meeting was, I mentioned last week, $16.95. As I said, the town manager was fine with that. We did have food there as well, so we get food. I don't know how the wine tasting, how that will play out.
Yeah.
So you'll have to, whoever's going to reach out to a wine tasting company, if what the cost will be for that. And then I will, again, once you present a package, then I will move that forward
Okay.
to the town manager.
sounds great. Who would be volunteering? Who's good at event management?
I can do the wine tasting thing because I have two people in mind that I can reach out
That'd
to.
be great.
Okay.
So would it be okay if you took over the task of calling wine tasting companies? I think we probably have about 30, 40 attendants, I
Okay.
guess. And what they basically how they would do the event and what the cost would be for us, if at all, because sometimes they just do it for free
Yeah,
because
or
they
they
want to
may
sell the
do it
wine.
half, because it's they may charge you a lesser price. I'll reach out to the two people that I have in mind and see what their thoughts are.
Yeah, sounds great.
Okay.
Please also note that the library, according to the town website, on Saturday, it's only open from 9 to 1 PM.
Oh.
Yeah.
A little early.
I think
Little
wine,
early for tasting
yeah,
wine.
I think we should do it in the early
Okay,
evening if
so-
it's wine tasting.
Mhm.
I don't think we should do it on a Saturday morning. That's crazy.
No.
Wine tasting, 8 a.m.
Can it be open for special events? I'm ready.
I could talk to the town manager. I mean, there'd have to be staff to come in, working with staff schedules. So I could ask him, but again, once you present your package, that could be part of the package that you would like to know if the library can be open.
Yeah.
Again, we'll see how the staffing would work out. So.
I think given the timing of this, just I'm thinking, aim for November. I
Yes,
mean, I
because
think
if we have the event
Do you know any?
end of March, April, people will come, but then in the summer, it's not really planting
I
season.
know too, so all three.
better
It's
off
hurricane
December.
season, so probably end of November is probably better. Because people come back and then they have enough time, because we just ordered all of our sea oats. We're planting like every week and we had to order them in October, November. So you got a plan. So I think I would suggest something around when people come back. So
Yeah.
end of November.
Yeah, to kick it off.
Yeah.
Have we finished the topic of, the beach raking, and are we still on that topic?
No, we've finished that topic. We have action item defined. So we've moved on. We moved on to town planner
Wine
Alan.
tasting.
Well, with going
Yeah.
through the action items that she had as an update from the town planner. So,
I have a question. Did we say the end of November so I can let these people know a
Yes.
date? Yeah, okay.
yeah,
November?
to start the silly season.
This is for the wine tasting?
Yes.
For me. So you got Veterans Day is on the 11th, and then that next week is the 17th. So that, and then Thanksgiving is the next
I
week.
was
So
just looking for
maybe
Thanksgiving, yeah,
yeah.
okay, so this is probably the week of the 17th, right?
is better. Yeah,
Yeah,
because Mingle Jingle is going to be the first week in December. So
Okay.
maybe this is like a beginning of gathering kind of stuff.
yeah, that sounds great. So, Alan, do you have points from your report?
I don't have a report. It's
I mean, or the updates, I mean.
That's all I had on an update.
Okay.
That's all you asked me to
Yeah.
look into. So that's what I have information wise. So, yeah. That's it.
Perfect. So then we can come to the next agenda item, approvals of minutes of November 6, 2024. Are there any corrections to the minutes of the last meeting of November 6, 2024? Hearing none, is there a motion to approve the minutes as presented? Is there a second?
Second motion.
All in favor say yes.
Yes.
All opposed say no. Okay, great. So then we can come to unfinished business. We have a couple of items listed here. Let's start with a discussion on the bucket trees. It was brought up in the last meeting we had a week ago that we do not have enough bucket trees or trash cans, especially on the north end of the town. So we were planning this as a discussion item right now.
I spoke with our condo manager and they've agreed to take three buckets and hang them next to the garbage can to start off.
That's amazing. Which condo is that?
It's Townhouses of Highland Beach. It's the
Townhouses.
most northern condo in Highland Beach.
So 3 bucket trees you would,
No, not bucket trees, 3 buckets. And then the buckets are
Oh,
gonna,
3
we already
buckets.
have a garbage can with an enclosure. And the buckets are gonna hang from, and there's grooves in the enclosure. They don't need a separate tree. So we just need the buckets.
and you have trash cans already?
We have a trash can already and it's utilized. So it's.
That's great.
They,
And it's visible from the beach. It's not on private property. So people can, I mean, it's,
no, it's right on the edge of the beach.
okay, that's great.
I'm gonna, whenever they're, I don't know exactly what the process is, but I can pick them up when they're ready.
So that's townhouses. That's great.
Or they could bring them out there.
Either one, whatever is easier. I'm happy to pick them up. I'm at the library.
As I said, I'll forward you that email that I sent back in 2022. Yes. And then you'll respond to the email and indicate how many buckets you want. And then I will forward that to the Public Works Department. And usually in the past, we have another condo that just has the buckets
Mhm.
and they'll bring them out there. As I said, they put the logo on them.
Right.
And then there's a little sticker that shows, how to do the clean
Okay.
pickup. Yeah.
Okay, great.
It's a
Okay.
pictogram on how to pick up the garbage. Yes.
I have a question. We only, I think, have 1 bucket left on our tree. How would I go about getting 2 more?
Yeah, no worries. You can always email me or you can reach out to our Public Works Director, Pat Roman.
Okay.
We have many of the condos that have the bucketry. Sometimes people take them.
Yeah,
So we're replenishing them pretty consistently.
okay.
So you, again, send me an email if
I'll
that's
send
more
you an
convenient.
email.
I can forward it to Mr. Roman. He'll have their staff go out there and put some more buckets out there.
Yeah, because we had those clippers in the
Yes.
beginning and everything.
Yeah.
It's on the stairs directly from Bellito. I'm the house next to it. So, so I guess it's actually like, well, it's public property, but whatever, it's sitting there. So I think there's like maybe 1, maybe 2 buckets left and none of those little pickup.
Yeah,
things.
those go too as well. I have people call me, hey, can you add some
So
more of the pickup flippers, whatever.
So I'll just
grabbers?"
email you.
Yeah, just email me and as I said, I'll forward it to Public
Okay.
Works. They're
Quick
pretty good with
question.
bringing that stuff out.
Thank you.
Is it possible for Public Works, just as an idea, like we could have Gold Star members, I guess, who have bucketries, and we could publish maybe once a year the list of people who've gotten the tree. So it's, if your condo's not in it or your address isn't in it, does Public Works keep track of how many they've put out there?
No, they don't keep track.
They don't.
How did they put them out there to begin with? Were
I
they
mean, there have to be
requested or they just
emails,
put them
right?
out in certain?
They have to have received
have to tell you.
emails.
Okay.
They have to have received emails.
Right.
Request-
Sometimes it's just a phone call. It's very informal. Sometimes
Okay.
people will just call, hey, I need a bucketry. I tell the Public Works Director, hey, they need not a bucketry, a bucket or a grabber. These are very informal things.
Okay.
You know, it's not per se,
A request.
everything document, not everything comes through an email. To answer your question, so was it back in 2021? Actually, this was an initiative by one of the board members of the Natural Resource Board. She came up with the idea of doing a bucketry. So we have a list of condos in the town that actually have trash cans. So I reached out to all those, I think it was about 12, 13, 14 condos that had trash cans. It only made sense that if you have a bucketry, you need a trash can.
Right.
So the first initiative or the first outreach, I reached out to all those condos. Do you want a bucketry? We did a mock-up. I sent emails. It was in the manager's minute. It's actually on the website right now. Under your webpage, there's a subheading of bucketries. You can look at what the bucketry looks like. I know somebody mentioned
what it
earlier.
looks
I don't know
like.
what a bucketry looks like. It's on the webpage. So I have a list of all the condos that do have a bucketry. They had to sign an authorization
Oh.
form. And that authorization form says that if there's a hurricane, that they have to remove it. It's placed in the sand.
Yes.
Right? So they have to remove it. So that's how it kind of started.
started.
And then other people started seeing, oh, the bucketry. So then if they had their own private trash can, because, some condos have their own private, they called us and said, well, we have the trash can, we want the bucketry. So then we had more people, getting them that way.
Okay, so on that, just, it's kind of off topic, but once the street is done, God knows when it's going to be done. I thought, I was just in my girlfriend's neighborhood. She lives over here in Boca Marina. And they have around the neighborhood, the little stands for the dogs, like where they have bags that
Oh, right.
come for pickup and a little trash can under it. I mean, it's really cool. And then it's a community. So it's every so many streets, which I think is so cool because we're a dog friendly neighborhood to have those out on A1A. I mean, I could send an email or something, or we can make a suggestion, but I think it's like a great idea. And I see it in other towns, but I wonder why Highland Beach didn't have it. I mean, I wouldn't want to put it on the beach because then, you're just that. But on A1A, there's so many people walking their dogs. And, I mean, I remember one day years ago, I didn't have a bag. I forgot to put my bags in my pocket. So I stole somebody's newspaper covering because I don't like to leave anything. But I thought it was a great idea when I walked through her neighborhood and I said, wow, this is cool. She goes, well, the neighborhood association voted to put them in and we put them in.
Well, you all have a lot that you're working on.
No,
so-
it just popped into my head
Yeah,
when we're talking about
always-
the bucket
yes,
trees.
And I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Always keep in mind your powers and duties. You're not really, about dogs.
Dogs are not on our
Right.
list.
Well,
You
it's
have to say-
keeping the grass
Yeah.
clean, keeping nature clean.
that's
I
fine,
mean, it's
and that's
keeping
fine.
our,
If there's,
that's how we, yes.
if there's consensus from the board.
Yeah.
If there's consensus from the board, then I could talk to the town manager, but it's really outside the powers and duties of the board.
Okay.
But
Well,
again,
it just was like, picking up on the beach, pick up on the sidewalk. I mean.
So
it
the
just
good
came
news
to
is
me.
I used the A1, A2. There's a lot of trash cans there. I appreciate that the town put all these trash cans there.
Yeah.
And I use them and I have my bags. And if I don't have a bag, it happens. You
Yeah,
ask another
sometimes it
dog,
happens,
there's
but I mean,
plenty
I
of
just
dog
thought
owners.
those stands were a great idea, just putting it out there.
yeah.
You
I
know,
think
I
it would
thought
be-
they were great.
Yeah.
They're usable, but they're also ugly. If you have them at every
No,
corner.
these weren't ugly. I'll take a picture and bring it next time.
Anyway,
Okay.
Well-
No, anyway.
Okay, but it's-
Off topic, move on.
Yeah, well, this is related to the bucket trees. It seems like some of us go on the beach and there's other people, of course, they walk on the beach and pick up trash. And I had an idea that it would be nice to have T-shirts that would say, "We got trashed in Highland Beach." And we could have it printed or some other kind of thing like Daughters and Sons of Beaches or something like that. There's something that's related to the beach and be a T-shirt that we can wear and people say, "Oh, where'd you get that shirt?" And it's pretty cool. And just to publicize that people are picking up on the beach. I don't know if the city of Highland Beach would pay for the printing of T-shirts that say, "We got."
So what would the
trashed," or whatever.
T-shirt say? Sorry, I missed that part. What would the T-shirt
We
say?
got trashed.
We got trashed
Oh,
in
we got-
Highland Beach.
Ah,
It's a play on words. We got trashed, or Daughters and Sons of Beaches. Something that would get people's attention.
like your T-shirt. If crabby, please return to beach. I love it.
Yeah, okay. So, I mean, something like, something with a message. And then if it's just a way to publicize, like people say, why are you doing this? And I say, well, I got nothing better to do, or it's good exercise, or the beach needs to be cleaned. People say, that's a good idea. And they pick up something, and they put it in.
I
the bucket.
cleaned up Island Beach.
But should we
you know.
do you think the city would agree to pay for T-shirts and
We
get
might
some
do it.
volunteers, maybe have a contest?
something
But I mean,
find
actually,
out
if we got a
for
group
one
together and
piece.
did that, maybe then, yeah, the city would do it, but like, we organize some kind of group.
Maybe we could get a group together to do that in different parts of the beach. And we could clean,
Could say
Again,
that.
if you have consensus, if that's something you want to move forward and you all agree, I'll talk to the town manager to see if they could print up T-shirts. But I would suggest the board just take this suggestion or not. Maybe you want to put forth, and I've mentioned this before, like a plan, like you have great ideas, but it seems you have very many ideas and it's maybe better to maybe rein in
Yes.
how you want to proceed
Yes.
for
So
2025.
I think, yes.
Maybe that's something you want to talk about in 2026 or the end of 2025. There's a lot of great ideas, but I feel you have a lot of great ideas and
We need to
they,
focus.
We
yeah,
need
they need to
action,
focus
yes.
and maybe rein in some of them
Yes.
just to be more efficient and more productive.
I agree. So we are now already in the next agenda item, which is future dune restoration management related events, or in a wider sense. I think we talked about the November event with the wine tasting. Then obviously we talked about the trash cans, the T-shirts. My personal opinion is I walk the beach and clean every day. I know exactly who's doing it and nobody else will ever do it. I don't think wearing a T-shirt will make any changes. I sometimes praise tourists because I see them coming, they pick up the trash and they go back to New York or New Jersey. I praise them. Thank you so much. Nobody will be, I think, influenced by a T-shirt. And I personally wouldn't want to embarrass myself wearing such a T-shirt. But that's just my personal opinion. I leave the floor open to
You can take
discussion.
it a lot of ways.
well, it would get people's attention, and it seems like, it's the section of the beach where we're living now is very clean, and then a lot of stuff is, my experience right now is there's not a lot of stuff washing in. In the summer, it gets worse.
I
But
think,
it just seemed like a
It,
nice way to get people's attention and to just a social kind of positive way to think about recycling and cleaning and the environment. I know it's not our federal government's priority at the moment, but it is a local, I think it is a local.
So
priority.
let me take your idea and expand upon it, how we could actually do something from a board perspective. And maybe this could be something we plan for in the future. So if you do like a beach cleanup day and create t-shirts saying, hey, you know, with the date and we all clean, like that's something that you can incorporate, but just go ahead and selling shirts just
Well,
to
we'd sell 'em.
raise awareness.
They'd be free. But I think the beach cleanup day is, that's a
So
good
that's
idea.
something that we can say, okay, let's plan that, hey, we want to schedule a beach cleanup day during the next snowbird season. You know, and that's something that we put on the agenda, we work towards, you know, we have to get town planner approval to do something like that, because we would be walking through private property. So we have to understand, you know,
No,
This came up, I'm
so,
sorry.
but we do
Go
have
ahead.
like some public beach spots, or we can maybe we get approval from the deeded access. So we have Bellito, Boca Estates, Boca Cove. Like, you know, there's beach sections that, you know, have access. I'm just saying that's like
That's-
turn those types of ideas into educational events, not just selling products to raise awareness.
maybe at the meeting that they're talking about for the dunes, this could be one of the items
Yeah.
that could be promoted at that time. So it'd be,
So
you could tie it together.
maybe that ties well into that subject. So under the dune restoration subject, St. Andrew's School, high school and middle school, and I mean a school, but the high school and the middle school is willing to do a beach cleanup event. They want to do that, and they will probably bring 20 or 30 kids. They
You
could
read
wear
my mind.
t-shirts.
I was just thinking. when I was
However,
out of school.
I know what Mrs. Allen's going to say. It's private beach. So I told them, you can do it on our condo land. We have 500 feet. You can do it for Parker Highland, or if everybody agrees around us, I have a couple of neighbors, I will ask you too. If everybody says yes, then we can do it. I'll get written approval. We can do it, but I can't do it for all of Highland Beach.
No.
So this is what we're going to do. We're going to have an event. It's probably very limited to my area, and sadly, in a funny way, we don't have a lot of trash. So Yamato Rock came up, and that's a question to the town. I think that's Palm Beach County land, public. They can clean up Yamato Rock. So I said we can do our condo, our neighbors that have approved it, and we can do Yamato Rock. And if that's approved by the town, we will definitely hold an event, a beach cleanup event with St. Andrew's School. So that's
No, that's great.
an
I could probably
educational-
get Ocean Place Estates and up to my property to do it, because I
Yes,
know everybody.
and then we can do that part.
Yep.
Are we going to wear t-shirts? No, because they're
No.
going to be wearing St.
St.
Andrew's
Andrews,
t-shirts.
yeah.
So
Okay.
yeah.
Wear bathing suits and wear whatever you want.
But that's an update from the school that we're going to do an event on beach cleaning, and now we're working on dates. And I'll let you know.
Yeah, just
But it's a private arrangement.
Just a yeah, the issue of beach cleaning has come up by the board several years ago. And we had the town manager talk about this issue of private property. And there's also a liability if you have the town chair of parks here, that's 2 years ago, previous chair of the board. He wanted a banner out front, and the town manager was like, no, because then it's the town sponsoring it, and then there's liability issues. So we can't have and where are all these people going to park? So
Yeah, so we
Just
have
be
it, the
mindful of
school
that.
has a big school bus,
Yeah.
and they bus the kids and they park at our property. That's already, we've done it before, so that's how they will do it. That's
and
a
you take the
great-
liability for it. and
We
yeah.
take the liability for it.
Yeah.
We've got our arrangement with the school, and then obviously we would have the same arrangements with other private properties, and Yamato Rock is public. And then they have
Right.
plenty to do.
Do you have enough trash on your beach for 20 kids? You
No,
can't get-
that's kind of funny enough, the problem, because we have to plan these events months in advance. There are days when I wish they would come, and there are days when there is not much work.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I'm thinking that towards the end of the season, May is probably more dirt, I'm guessing,
Summer, it's summer.
but we don't have a date yet. It depends on their busy schedule. It's not about when there's trash, it's about when the school can organize an event like that. So I'm waiting for a date right now.
But if they go and there's no trash, what do they accomplish?
Then they will do learning, and then I can teach them enough about the beach. But there is, in our dunes, there's definitely always trash. Within the dunes, there's always a lot of work that
And
can
you'll
be
give
done.
them gloves and stuff. I'm
Oh, yeah,
sure the
yeah.
School will, yeah,
They
because
can learn
that's,
about the dunes and.
So we have a
So-
landscaping company and they provide all the gloves and all the materials.
oh, good, yeah.
Good.
Chair Nessa, I was going to suggest when the board is reaching out, I believe some board members are reaching out to the big condos, right, in terms of dune management, restoration. Maybe you want to have them, each condo can promote their residents to do a beach cleaning
Yes.
on their property. That may be a more efficient way and a more proactive way, just letting the condos know, hey, consider doing a little beach cleanup on your property. And I think that'll get the job done. As I said, the town can't sponsor a beach cleaning event, as we've discussed over and
Yes.
over, because of the private property. But that may be something that you want to put on your plan on how you're going to do outreach for dune restoration and maybe throw in there beach cleaning. Let the
Exactly.
condos, something that the condos can consider, something they could think about. And it
And
could just
that's-
be a once a month thing. They put a little note on their message board that they have. A lot of them have those old school boards. Maybe something that you can give them as a friendly reminder that they can do, initiate on their own.
And that now you bring me to the next topic. I have exactly the spreadsheet that I prepared for this meeting for 4 things. So you speak out of my mind. A dunes event. So we want to reach out to these condos that are on the ocean for eventually hosting a dunes event. If they have a good dune or a bad dune and can show how not to do it. The trash cans, if they're willing to put trash cans down, is that when we reach out, we can bring up that topic as well. The third topic, when we reach out to these condo presidents or board members or managers of those condos, is beach raking, just having the conversation, quickly summarizing what the town manager has told us today, and just reach out and basically have them making sure the beach rakers are doing the right thing. And the fourth topic, which is what Mrs. Allen just mentioned, is the beach cleaning idea, that they could do what we are planning, beach cleaning events with a school or without a school. They could organize something like that. So those are the 4 topics. And I've listed all the condos. It's about probably 20 of the larger ones that are on the ocean, that I would, if you guys agree, would love to run through and brainstorm who can call who knows somebody. If you just know anybody living there, that's a great entry point.
Do you want to go through the names?
Yeah,
We
so
can
let's
kind of-
start on the north side with townhouses of Highland Beach. So
There
that's you, David, right? Yeah, so I put you down. Then the Delray Sands Resort is the next one. I've left a message with them and I can update you right now. So I've spoken to the events and marketing manager. He wasn't thrilled that they would have to sponsor the event, but it's not a no yet. I'm still talking to them. He should have called me back before today and he hasn't.
Were they going to?
So basically the Delray Sands Resort is a hotel and they have a restaurant on the beach. And so it would be an event where they would be, he was asking me, well, what is it? What do you want? Do you want the wine and dine, or do you want a dinner, or do you want a breakfast? I said, well, we don't have specific plans yet. It depends on what your availability looks like. He definitely was not thrilled with weekends because they're busy. I guess dinners are busy, but a morning event, I'm just making this up, at say 9:30, bagels, coffee with fruits or whatever. That's not very costly. That's coffee, bagels, and say fruits. I'm just
But
making
what
this up.
else is the event involved? I mean, are we?
That's
gonna-
what we discussed in the last meeting. It's a beach dunes outreach event where we're
Right,
going to be
right.
presenting how to restore a dune.
That'd be a great location. They
and
have
so you have-
parking and everything.
And they have parking, they have valet parkings. That's what we discussed in the last meeting. That's why I called them. That was one of my action items. So I don't want to be going, I'm sorry, I'm conscious of time. I don't want to summarize everything, but basically, it's the June event that we would be doing with them. The cost, again, ballparking is probably 30 attendants, I'm guessing 30 to 40 people. And I'm guessing $20 per person. I'm literally just guessing. At least for
Well-
them, it's covering their cost. We'll be paying for the coffee, for the bagel, and for, say, the fruit, or whatever we can choose. Something small. For them, it's advertising.
Can we get
but-
free parking? Could they give us. a
Valet
quick-
parking is
yeah.
$10, and I'm pretty sure the way he sounded on the phone, I don't think he's willing to sponsor anything.
No.
He was not very thrilled when I said, look, this is advertising for you. This is great. I think they're doing very well. I don't think they need us to advertise their hotel.
They're making a fortune, but they could be a little more generous too.
They could, but,
the community.
and I still try. I'm working on it, but I'm just now that we are all together, because we won't be able to communicate in between. If the budget is, say, 40 people times $20, that's $800, say 1,000. Is that something that the town could swallow or not?
Check with the town manager.
Maybe we can get the
This would
speaker
be-
to charge less than $1,600 for an hour and a half.
Because I think this could be an amazing opportunity.
It's a great location.
It's a great location. They have a wonderful dunes and they made a lot of mistakes. And if you have Dan Belante, for example, as a speaker, he can talk about the different types of scavola they have. They have good and bad, from what I would say, but
Oh,
I don't have his eye.
Yeah.
I don't have his eye,
Mm.
but I don't think what I saw, I'm scared for their dunes. So
Yeah.
it could actually be really good for them as well. I would make sure that they have their managers
Did
there.
you say that to him?
No, don't
No,
say
I
that.
didn't go into the details. I did not
Oh.
go into the details because he's an event manager. He doesn't care about nature. For him, it's all about an event, when, how much money. But I will obviously keep talking to the management. In an ideal world, we get it for free, sponsored, and it would have sponsoring and everything, you know. But it seemed like they were not thrilled.
Our luncheon's there next week. So maybe we could talk to him while we're there and he sees who you are, like you legitimate people from.
Yeah,
the
and they're making
town,
money on the luncheon. I
you
don't think
know?
they're
The
paying for the
is on
luncheon.
Is that next week?
Wednesday,
Yeah.
right? Am I
Is it?
right?
Right.
Or Thursday?
On Thursday, let me see. Townward luncheon, yes, correct. Wow, time flies. Yep,
So-
yeah, we could probably, that's a great idea. Why don't we talk to them then? And I will make sure that he's going to be around, or the manager.
Yeah.
That somebody will be around for us to speak.
Chair Nestle, I'm sorry, did you say a date for this event?
I just said in the season,
the
like
season.
in the season. So obviously not in the summer. But we didn't talk about specific dates. And I'm pretty sure usually the mornings, they probably have availability. They're not going to close their restaurant for us. They're probably going to have half the section for our event and then the other half for their usual clients.
Much bigger turnout at the Delray Sands than any other location.
Yeah,
People would enjoy having coffee and donuts or whatever, bagels or whatever.
So you were
Mm.
thinking this spring or sometime this spring?
I think so. That would be great. Yeah, that would be.
Because Easter is the 20th, so if we, in April, so it's late. So you could do it maybe the second week in April.
Yeah, April. Yep.
I don't think they're gonna go for it Easter week because their hotel's gonna be packed.
No, not Easter week. It would have
No,
to be.
the
yeah.
second week would be the 7th.
I mean,
week
around
as
Easter,
well.
there's gonna be people vacationing down here, maybe after Easter, when they're seeing a little bit of a slowdown, they would probably love to do it.
Yeah, we'll lose people though. We'll lose.
Do you think people are gonna
don't
go I don't think people are gonna go home before May. I'm sure, that's me, but,
Mhm.
you know, but I just don't think they're gonna go for it at all Easter week. They're packed.
Yeah, no, I
we?
agree. I agree.
No, I mean, the week before and the week, right, when they have people come down.
Okay.
So I'm just suggesting maybe you do it the end of the month when,
Maybe January.
no. I would say April or the beginning of May.
But
But
it
you want
depends.
you're looking for residents more than anything,
Right,
right?
right.
So, I
sure.
mean, I know
Yeah.
there's a lot of part-time ones, but
April, May. I
April,
mean,
May, that's
I
a
will
good
ask
time.
them. I will ask
agree.
them.
I agree.
But let me call the Delray Sands and make sure that maybe the manager, the general manager, because he will talk to the general manager, get back to me, might be available to meet with us, or say hi while we have lunch there. That's a great idea.
yeah.
So that's the Delray Sands Resort. So that's on our action item list that we're going to, that I'm following up on this one. The next one on the list, we have a lot, so conscious of time, let's run through it a little quicker. Villa Magna, does anybody know anybody in Villa
Yeah, I
Magna?
do.
Chris, so you're gonna call them.
What was that one? I'm sorry.
Villa Magna,
Okay.
beautiful building. My favorite building in Highland Beach. Highland Place
too.
condo. Does anybody know anybody in Highland Place condo?
Where is that? I don't even know.
It's in the north. I'm going north.
Okay.
So basically, I'm driving or in my mind, driving or bicycling or walking from
No,
the
do
north
not.
to the south. So now we're just a little south of Delray Sands Resort, but still very north. So we have question mark. Anybody wants to call them? Does anybody live north?
Well, I have a connection, I actually have a condo north of there.
So Highland Place condo, David, are you
It's
willing
right
to
next
call them?
it. No, I'm in the, it's called, Wiltshire House. It's
But
a small.
yeah, that's the next one. Perfect. I'll have you down for this one. Wiltshire House condo. Yep. Would you mind also calling Highland Place condo? Would that be
No,
okay for
no,
you?
Highland Place, sure.
Yeah, that would be great.
Yeah, I think one
So
of the commissioners, David Stern, is at Highland Place, so call David and talk.
Well, I think the Highland Place already has a bucket.
They have a
tree.
bucket tree already.
Oh,
Highland Place has a bucket tree. And
But
the
it-
one next,
this
so I
is-
don't know if you need to have one,
this is-
although we could get a bucket tree at the Wiltshire House too.
Yeah, so basically when you're calling them, you're talking about June events, trash cans, beach raking, and beach cleaning. All 4 topics will come up. And I appreciate, David, if you call Highland Place condo
Mhm.
and Wiltshire House condo. I have your name down for that.
Okay, I'll take those two.
And then I think we all report to the town manager with our findings. Is that correct? Would that be okay for you, Mrs. Allen?
Go
What
back
the
here.
What the
purpose
outcome
is
is?
to know if they want to get a bucket tree?
Well, bucket tree is easy. They would just contact you. But say they want to do an event and we
Oh.
start, or do we have to wait till the next meeting and discuss it then?
I think we should. I think it's
I
more
think you need
complicated.
to come to the next meeting
Okay.
with all your information.
Okay,
And then you could discuss it. We could have it on the agenda again.
got it. Okay, so we're going to put this on the agenda, please, for next meeting to go through this list with the findings.
So we're
then-
not going to contact them until after the.
No, we are contacting them,
Okay,
but we're reporting.
Discuss it, yeah.
We're not going to discuss it because we cannot discuss it. You legally can contact town
yeah.
planner.
So
Alan, but
what were the 4 items? You said Dune events, beach.
so the
rec-
June events, I'm going to send an email to the town planner, Alan, which he can share with everybody, and then it will be clear. But it's June events,
Mhm.
trash cans, beach raking, and beach cleaning. So the next on the list is the Trafalgar condo. Does anybody know anybody in Trafalgar?
Trafalgar already has a bucket tree.
So they have a bucket tree, yeah. But then events, beach raking. I saw most of the north ones. They just have a lot of sea grapes. It's full of sea
I
grapes.
think I may know somebody there.
Can I add you?
Just put me there and I'll reach out to who I know and see if I can get some information of who to talk to.
Perfect. I put
think
you here.
they
Okay,
live there.
perfect. Then Ocean Pines. And Ocean Dunes.
I don't know them, but I'll take them.
Okay, Chris, I'll put you down for those 2, just in the absence of anybody else. Penthouse Towers, I can cover them. I know people there. Because obviously we've been working with them.
Mhm.
I know a lot of board members and people there. So that's an easy one for me. I'll take over Penthouse Towers. Obviously their dune is restored. Not sure if they have a tree. I don't think I've seen one, but they're a good one. I'll be working with them. Villa Mare is the next one. That's just south of Penthouse Towers. That's probably the middle of the town.
See, I don't know where that one is.
Villa Mare.
Villa Mare, yeah. I actually, yeah, I found it online, but I don't know the condo. Do you want to, Chris, do you want to call them?
Yeah, I think I know which one that is, but is that the one that's got the Oriental pond? on
I
the
actually
other
don't know.
side?
I don't remember. I've Googled them all, but I can't remember what is what.
Yeah. I think
Ambassador East, that's a really, really big one. It has 3 towers. I know the manager who I can call them. I think I know the manager if he's still there, because he used to be the manager of our condo. So I'm gonna take, unless anybody else knows Ambassador East, I just probably know the manager.
Yeah. Oh,
No other connections, Ambassador East?
Mm.
That's a big one. That's an important one. The next one is Clarendon. Clarendon?
Oh, Clarendon.
Yeah, does anybody know
Yeah,
anybody in Clarendon?
That's mine.
That's you?
That's me.
Oh, perfect.
we know you.
Yeah, you know someone there.
Okay, so
Yeah.
then that's great. So then that's you, Chris. We hope you can report success on all 4 items.
Well, yeah, I don't know about that, but.
Put the pressure on.
Everybody, the problem is right now, there's so much concrete restoration going on that
Everywhere.
everybody is so focused on that.
Yes,
And then
same.
the street at the same time, it's insane.
Anyway, I mean, we already have Clarendon already has a bucketry. But in terms of, they might join a beach cleaning. I don't,
Well, the next meeting is only in, let me look it up. So we have time.
April.
Oh, it's not even on the list here, but I thought, yeah, it's in a couple of months. So we have time. So if they have concrete restoration now, then you can call them in a month.
Is there any way to get the
The next meeting is where we.
city
go
of Delray
over
Beach to put a
the rules
bucket
of
tree?
engagement.
Yes,
Sorry, what?
Sunshine.
City of Delray Beach.
city of
Oh,
Delray
yeah.
Beach, because just to the north of us is Delray Beach, and I don't see any
Reach out.
bucket trees.
You can reach out to them.
Yeah.
Ask
But we can still
them.
report.
Yeah.
That's for
anything
them
else.
to decide.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay. Who would I reach out to?
I
No,
would
the
reach out to
town.
their city manager. Probably the city manager's office might be good. Start at the top and see what they're, yeah.
Okay, so then we said Clarendon, Chris, you're going to take them over. Then Toscana Towers, that's a huge one. That's
I know.
massive.
Good.
That is an important one. And David, I think you have a contact there, or is that?
No, they hate me.
They
But they know you.
Yeah, I complained because they had we were renting a place right across the street from there. And they had someone with a leaf blower that was blowing 1 or 2 leaves a day.
Oh, now I remember. That's, yeah.
And, I had the manager and
I mean, who could,
I don't like the condo. I hope no one here lives in it.
What's the
but
name?
I don't like.
Toscana, the towers.
The orange, the ugly, big orange
Gentleman was
towers.
just Slashed.
They just took a bird sanctuary and destroyed it and put those towers in there.
Somebody's on finance here at the
So-
town someone is on the finance committee who lives there.
Oh, really?
Mhm.
In the town? For the entire town?
Can I give Toscana Towers to you and then you find out and either it's you or,
I'll find
This
out. I
person-
don't wanna,
They have a
more.
tiny.
Find out
That's
who it
enough.
is and I'll do it if you don't want to.
I'll
Find out who it is.
I'll get you the name, because
Yeah.
I. watched
okay,
it.
so,
We have a lot
okay,
of
then,
people
because
that
it's
use-
really up very close to you, right, Karen? So I
Yeah.
write you down.
I'll
Perfect.
get you the name.
The next one is 45 Ocean. I can take that one over. That's our neighbor, our
Yeah.
ugly neighbor. But that was over 2 orange towers, now white, not much better looking. Have a
You gotta
seawall.
say It's much better than orange. Come on.
It
You
is
gotta
much
say
better, but it's still disgusting. And they have the seawall.
Oh,
And whenever something, and it's actually native species are finally creeping out, they're ripping them out. And
Yeah.
I'm, ouch,
and
what
they
are you
rip my
doing?
heart out every time.
They
keep-
rip
I'd
them
say, why
out.
can't they just leave that and plant that?
Does anyone
Plant that
talk
in.
to them and talk to them? I
Um,
don't know anybody.
There you go. That's you.
so I will talk to them because I mean, I will have to find out, but it's breaking my heart when I see them removing the plants. Right now they have construction, so I understand, but I will find out.
They don't
I take
understand.
45 Ocean as well. That's a big one.
Okay.
They don't have a dune, obviously, they only have a seawall, so they could be excellent after concrete restoration. They're just after 2.5
they could be
years of
great.
ordeal, they're now doing their pool.
Because it looks like we're in Miami. when you go
They
there.
would be great on how not to do it, and then we would have an event there. They have plenty of parking. Then Parker Highland, that's obviously me. I
Yeah,
live
that's
there.
you.
We have dune restoration in progress, so we can definitely host a dunes event. Obviously, it has to go through our board, which I chair at the moment, and I can push it through. So I would call this a done deal, a dune event. We can hopefully host trash cans. We do have a trash can. We do not have a bucket tree because our residents, after it was planted, didn't like it because it it's in their sea view and they said it's ugly. But I like the idea, but you have just with the buckets somewhere in a different system underneath the stairs, we could build something where we just have the buckets. I'll be looking into that. Beach raking, I'm not going to details. Yes, they know us very well. They know us very well. That's all I can say. We had complaints and board meetings with people almost killing each other with the topic of beach rakers. Because some people want them and some people do not want them in our board meetings. And then
The
there.
beach rakers gonna appear because we.
No, this was just our internal discussions because we wanted to cancel the contract because we said this is nonsense, this is not natural for all the reasons we mentioned. And then we had half the residents absolutely ranting, we need them, I don't want any trash, they're cleaning, they're doing their job, and the other half saying, we don't want them. And then I'm here with my board, and then what am I doing? So we are hiring them now for most of the season, but not for the entire year. That was our democratic decision. So we are on the case, I can say. If one condo in Highland Beach is on the beach raking case, it's us, they know us.
Can we get them to, the beach rakers to come to a meeting and face us face to face?
Well, the manager is already sending. a
Yes.
letter.
Yes,
going
he's
to
taking, he's
address
on it.
Are they gonna invite
We're
them
not
to
a
come?
court of law. We can't require.
They're
Show
not
up.
required, just invite them.
Yeah, but the manager.
But that
let
doesn't-
him-
They will
Town
come.
manager-
Let the manager.
Town
do
manager's
his
kind of
thing.
taking care of it.
And if, the town manager already indicated he'll put a letter, right? An annual harsh letter. And I think that's how he wishes to proceed.
But he doesn't want to invite them to be.
They've already come to the commission in 2021. It's been a few years.
That's 4
but
years ago.
I'm just telling, yeah, this
Let's-
is what the
let's try
town
it
manager
first.
presented to you all today and how he's wishing to proceed. So.
Okay.
Yeah, we have a good action item there, then we can take it from there. So Parker Highland is sorted, then the last one is Boca Highland Beach Club. Does anybody know anybody in Boca Highland Beach Club? I know the president, Eve Rosen, she's one of the presidents she's a Braemar Isle president. I'm going to reach out to her. I can take Boca. They have about 7 buildings. They're huge. They have a beautiful dunes and they're making me sad every morning when I see their employees putting all the chairs literally onto the sea oats
Yeah,
at night.
you want to cry.
And then they
They just
grab
like-
it and drag it over the roots. And I cry. And I've so many times told them in my broken Spanish, why not to do that. And I was very
No, why
kind
not?
with them. I actually Googled it. I Googled my speech and I did it beautifully. And they didn't really, they were just looking at me. It's hopeless.
Okay, what about that
So,
Seagate thing?
So basically we have to go higher. So basically explaining to employees that they should just put the chair somewhere else hasn't helped. So this has to go to the highest level. They do have trash cans. They have a bucket tree.
Seagate.
No, I'm talking Boca Highland Beach
Oh,
Club.
Highlands, okay.
Um,
I thought we were.
They would be amazing for a dunes event. I put them massively on top of my list because they have not only a beautiful dunes, but also they have a beach house. They can actually host it.
Beautiful beach house.
They have a beautiful beach house. The only problem is, you guess, no parking. So that's going to be a
No
problem because they have parking like on the other side. But I remember from when I had other events there that there's not much parking.
I thought we were doing this at the Delray Sands.
No, the Delray Sands is just one of those events.
One
We're
we-
talking about what are we doing with those condos? So we're trying to find June events. This is action item number 1 of your call that you're going to do. So whether they're willing to host a June event, it doesn't have to be all this year. It can be next year.
The Dune event's not going to be tied into the Delray Sands?
No, we're going to do that for sure.
It would be a coffee like we did with Penthouse Towers.
But it sounded like you wanted another Dune event.
Yes, of course. That's the whole plan. Is the Delray Sands is most likely going to happen, and then the wine and tasting is also going to happen, pending cost approval. And then this would be a 3rd and a 4th and the 5th event that we're just brainstorming now. Which of these condos would be willing to host an event? And of course, they're not, say, if 7 condos agree, we're not going to have them all in 2025.
The roads, that go on the west side of Highland Beach.
So I only
Streets.
looked at the condos that are on the ocean because we are talking about dune restoration. We're not, this is not about seawalls on the other side. That's a whole
Yeah.
different topic.
Well, but they all have paths. They all walk over.
They all use the
on
beach. They all
They
use the
could do a
beach.
beach cleanup.
We don't
event.
have our own, so we have deeded rights to like a certain section, like we just have a beach access, we don't have our own dunes, so like we couldn't affect change.
But. would you-
And sort of like, we can't raise money to get beach or plant trees because we don't
Right.
own any of that beach property.
But
So
you could do like a beach cleaning or,
again, we're walking on other people's property to the beach, so we can't,
oh, you,
They only have
we have deeded access.
Yeah.
We don't even have deeded beach
I see.
ownership.
Okay.
It's the same with Bellito, Russell Drive, which is Boca Estates, and then Boca Cove, which is next to
45.
45
yeah.
Ocean. So that's, there's really no point in, and all of those streets have 40 HOAs. Because every single one of those buildings is its own association
Really?
typically, yeah.
Kind
Yeah.
of like us on A1A. Just
Yeah.
in a different way.
Yep. So I did not, for those reasons, I did not put them on the list. So I'm done with the list. I think I'm just,
I have to just say, is Seagate not in Highland Beach? Because they had that, remember we discussed about that, they're on the west side, but they have a big piece of beach property. Is that not in,
That's still right.
no?
it's
Seagate's-
possible. I
No.
mean, I've done a Google research.
But did
Seagate,
you ever find her card that talked to us?
No,
No,
no.
shit, okay.
but that's in Boca. That's in
keep it
Boca,
Boca.
right?
It is
Look it up.
Boca, it is Boca, okay, because they talked to us at the event, so I just wondered, okay, that's what I was questioning, it's Boca, okay.
Yeah, that's in Boca.
Oh, okay, and then quickly, Ocean Place Estates, I had them, Denise agree that we did her dune she would do something there if we wanted. That's, the 12 properties that are all gated, and some of the dunes are awful and some of the dunes are,
So they're willing to do an event?
yeah,
Amazing.
she is personally, because she redid her dune, and she's like, 20 feet, no, more, 100 feet from me. So, I mean,
Awesome.
I would be willing to, do that. It's just the parking. And then Jamaican Manor, where Dan lives,
Mhm.
my girlfriend also lives there. That's how I met Dan. They would be willing to do something. They have a gorgeous dune because obviously Dan has the upkeep there.
Mhm.
So I just, they're small, but they're real close to the Delray Sands. So just, put it up there, out there, so.
They're small. Do they have parking?
I have to, not much, no. But Dan lives there and she lives there, so I mean, Dan would be perfect to like tour the people and explain to him, the planting, but he'll also do it at my place or anywhere, but Jamaican Manor, that's the other one. It's a smaller, there's only like 10 units there. So,
That's great. I mean, parking, just throwing it out there, would
Yeah.
it be possible? And that's a Miss Allen question. Say if it's a smaller place like Jamaican Manor, could we have, say, 4 Uber cars that the town would pay and they would pick up all the people that sign up, drop them off and bring them back? For those who are not willing to walk, that's probably a couple of $100 because they're stopping at other properties, maybe a few $100 maximum budget for transport.
Again, I would put it in your package, once you get all your research.
Flush it out,
And I could take it to the town manager and see what his thoughts are about doing that. I
Okay.
know that the town has an Uber account, but I guess we can figure that out if he's okay with it.
The trolley.
The trolley is
Yeah.
sweet, but that's too expensive.
Yeah.
Great. So we went through the list. We all have our action items. Anybody has anything else to report on those condos? And because I think we have a lot of homework now and a lot to talk about in March. Hopefully a lot of them will agree, and then we just have to make a plan of when we're doing it and where. So Jamaican Manor is already on the list and Ocean Place Estates is on the list. Parker Highland, I can say is probably end of 2026 in terms of the list and the timing. Delray Sands is probably, that's going to be probably the first one that we can do, which is April or May. So we can start doing a list and then we can also then start thinking about parking and other technicalities in the next meeting. Great. So then I would, in March,
Yeah, I was gonna say, what's the date? I'm just gonna write it here that I have a due date.
March or April.
You need help, like anything, let me know.
Interesting.
Are we in new business now?
So we're coming to new business, which is the board members' updates on assigned projects.
201. Oh, you're
We're coming to the
freaking
next
out.
action item. So we have already gone through a lot of the action items.
Fourth.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, so we're starting now with new business agenda item number 9, board members' updates and unassigned projects. I think we've gone through a lot of action items that we had.
I have one.
We went through the trash can discussion, we went through the beach raking discussion, we went through Delray Sands, we went through all the condos. And yes, so any other action items to add? Chris, you had something?
Yes. The website, we were going.
Oh, the
to
website, yes,
bring
correct.
examples that we thought should be on a QR code by the planner's office so that people can either go and then look at these items. There are 11 or 12 or whatever on the natural resources website. But you know, it's cumbersome to get there. So that would be a good thing. So I copied 3 things
Yeah.
that I thought
Yeah.
were most educational for a resident who knows nothing. And so those are the 3. The guidelines, that's the Environmental Protection Florida guidelines. Then there's a wanted Scavola that I think Ingrid got for us. And then there's the penthouse towers. Those 3 to me give you, if you look at them, it gives you a very good idea of some of the issues that we have.
How do we get those? Was that in the email?
They're on the webpage.
They're on the
your
webpage.
website. Yeah.
They're on our webpage, and you can't get to them by Safari. You have to get to them by,
Yes, we found out there, and I already reported
you
it to
have
the
to be
town.
on Bing or something.
You have to be on,
On
Safari does not work.
Chrome.
And Chrome also only works after about 3 times rebooting. I tested it on 4 different computers. And the first time even Chrome did not work. And I had to reboot it and reboot it again. And then for
Yeah.
some reason, it went.
So
to
anyway, my
Chrome.
thought is if we had a QR code, like the people come up, we used to have paper.
On your phone?
Paper isn't really great, but it's okay. I mean, we give out a lot of paper at our events and people really appreciate having something they can bring home and look at. But I picked those 3 items as items that I thought if you were going to push a QR code, that's what you would go to.
I'm sorry, can you repeat the Scavola? What were the other 2?
One was this one, the
Yeah.
other one is the one she's holding up, which is the DEP.
Guidelines?
Yeah.
The ones you asked me to bring, Chair?
Yes, that's
And then-
exactly.
And then penthouse was the 3rd.
The penthouse one? Okay, thank you.
Yep.
So I asked Mrs. Allen to bring this one because you have the folded version, which is the official version. I really like this one because it
It's
really
very-
summarizes everything. And I would recommend that we are leaving it to this. The Scavola is mentioned in here. I think this is
Yeah.
covered, the wanted. And this is just one plant and there's so many invasive
Yeah.
plants. I think this is really all we need as a high level teaching
We
session.
already have these out front
Yes.
in the town.
So I think from my perspective, we're covered.
Okay.
This is really the Bible.
Yeah, yeah.
Or the Bible or the overview,
Hmm.
I think.
It's very good.
It's very good,
Yeah.
yeah. So I personally
You
have not
just want to
found,
do one. All
I
right.
think so.
Well, I think
That's
having
my
that out there
recommendation.
is good. Do we have them also up at the office on the 2nd floor?
No, but we could put some.
Okay, because I do think that's helpful. And then I don't know, people, getting I know we're really proud of our website, but it is tough to find stuff on that website. So if we had a QR code that they could scan to get them right to natural resources, that might be helpful too, but anyway.
And I think I would appreciate if the IT department or whoever does your IT finds out what is the problem by some computers, because I literally
I can tell you
tested.
now.
It's not pop-up blockers.
So it's not Safari. It's
Yeah.
not anything. It's your browser that's not working. We have checked it on every single computer. We have
really?
used other people's computers. I just pulled it up on Safari right now. There's no problem with it.
Okay,
The security protocols, everything is updated. So it's whatever browser you're trying to use may have, even if you have a pop-up blocker, it doesn't matter. It will still work. So it's some type of security setting or cache browser within what you're trying to access it
but
with.
you had the same problem, Chris, right? You
I
couldn't
did.
get it, yeah.
Your browser may not be updated.
Yeah, I just tried on all of our computers. We had the same problem. I got the same weird black and white.
Yeah,
kind
we
of
have a lot of
page.
security.
Yeah.
Do you have an
Yeah,
extra?
no, I see. Okay.
Thank-
All right.
No, I know how to get rid. It's more for other
Yeah.
residents. I'm not
It's
concerned
good
about
idea
myself.
for general people. Yeah,
So-
on there.
Want to pass it?
Any other updates from any members?
I have an update. I'm going to the recycling center in 2 weeks. And which I had volunteered to do. If anyone would like to join me, this is in West Palm Beach. I'm driving there, so
You're going to the Palm Beach one?
West Palm Beach, yeah. So no one's dying to see the recycling center and the garbage plant and whatnot. I'll give you a little report in the next
That's
week.
amazing. Thank you so much for doing that.
I'm glad to do it. I'm curious how much is being recycled and what they're really doing there.
When you're there, I would appreciate if you could ask. I see it in my condo. People just throw everything that looks like plastic or anything recyclable. They throw everything, including
I'm gonna
their
ask that, yeah.
everything that's not food. They throw it in there. How does the Palm Beach County waste
How do
management
they
deal with this?
separate it?
Yeah, because plastic bags and all that stuff.
I think they take the stuff that they don't recycle and they burn it and they generate electricity from the burning. So it's not a total waste because they're getting power from it. Of course, FP&L gets power without any fumes and pollution. So that seems like a better way to get electricity.
Because they do a great job. We have these posters on every floor, what's recycling, and what's the yellow, and what's the blue bin. It's so clear. It's really for the dummies. And on every floor,
It's the
because
same-
people
so-
have their cleaners
Why-
throw out everything.
Why are people like that? I don't understand.
People don't care.
They're in a hurry. They don't care. They don't.
And we keep sending letters. We do it in English and in Spanish for the cleaners, because everybody blames their cleaners. And I'm actually going to hang it again in Spanish, in this big
They have a
letter.
$100 fine, they'll do it. That's what I recommended our condo.
That's a
Anyone
great
that
idea.
didn't follow the recycling would get a $100 fine.
That's a good idea.
sounds
That's going to
ridiculous.
change.
But they gave
Rules
someone
and
a $100
regulations.
fine for swimming in the pool after sunset. So
They throw it all,
Ah,
almost all.
okay, so
If you convince the public, if the recycling center really does recycle, then maybe people lay in more attention,
right,
but a lot of people doubt it.
yes,
They
right.
don't Separating everything, it goes into one truck.
that's an
They
excellent
sell-
point.
That's
Yes.
why I'm going to the meeting.
They sell a lot.
The recycling center to see what.
They sell it.
See if
They
it-
they sell, I mean, it's some astronomical amount of cardboard they sell. And they make, money on it and metal too. They
Yeah.
do a lot of metal sales. So
Right.
get those numbers, because
Yeah,
they were
right.
published last year. They're pretty large.
Any other updates?
I have one, but it's from 2 meetings ago. We were talking about seawalls, going on that tour. I have someone that's agreed to do it, so I can email that to you.
Agree to do, I'm sorry,
We
what
were
specifically?
talking 2 meetings ago about doing a tour of the seawalls and the growth out there and getting the boat together. It's 2 meetings, intercoastal.
So you're gonna have someone on a boat, someone that owns a boat take you out?
No,
Oh.
I have
Oh.
the intercoastal property, they were gonna survey the seawall, sorry, I misspoke totally. I know someone from American Seawall,
Okay.
that will do that. He's done several seawalls in the community. If we still are interested in doing that.
I'm sorry, just to clarify, so they're going to go out on a boat or just at a property? I'm not sure. I
On a
understand.
boat, we've discussed about. Sorry.
And
We
whose
dis-
boat? It will be?
We would
just a
discuss
private-
about using the town boat.
Oh, okay. So,
But we discussed that. They can also go out on a private boat, but I wanted to put that out there. And I'll send you an email of all the information. And if we can use the town boat, it would probably be better.
well,
But
and,
if we can't, we can't.
okay, yeah, I had provided a follow-up on that. Hold on one second. Let me go back to that
I'm
meeting.
talking to a friend of mine, had the boat, and I said, could you take us down to Intracoastal?
Yeah.
And he's thinking about it.
Okay,
Um,
well, I have somebody that will if the town doesn't want to do it.
I discussed it with the town manager and he indicated that, again, if there's consensus from the board that you want to go out on the town's marine patrol vessel, then that would be something that would have to be taken to the commission. And the commission would have to determine if they want you all to go out on the marine patrol vessel that's owned by the town. So I don't know if you want to discuss it at your next meeting or if you want to have consensus now, then I can tell the town manager and it will be something for the commission to determine.
Was there a cost associated to him going around
No.
the entire town and evaluating?
He's willing to do it.
And what exactly would we get out of it? Like,
Well, we were looking at the deterioration of
They fixed it.
seawalls
They're
and the vegetation there and take pictures.
sure, but I understand like but are we gonna get like a written report? I think if we're
Well,
gonna
if you want a
use-
written report, then yeah, they're
Well, so I
probably
think
charge
that's
you.
gonna be like, if we're gonna impact change, I think we need something.
Yeah, well, I can ask him about that, but he
feasibility
was
study.
willing to do it and I can ask him about a written report.
I think the best would probably be if he says these addresses are really a concern, and then we can have a list of addresses. 55 Russell Drive is a problem, for example.
Right.
And then we can publish maybe this list and give them the American Seawall contact, for example, if this is
Take
feasible.
pictures.
But obviously it's not advertising, it's just we've done
No,
that.
it's not advertising.
It's researching.
It's just research.
I mean, it was brought up 2 meetings ago and if no one's in agreement,
Some
then I'll just.
exposure. We-
Yeah, no, I would find out like what does he need to do? Like, I'm happy to bring him out on my boat, but like if he has to get up really close to the seawall, like I'm not doing,
No.
So,
No.
so it'd be
Wouldn't
just
be like
curious, like
that.
what exactly is he gonna do and what are we gonna get out of it? So then we can come to the town manager or the town commission and say, hey.
Well, we talked
we
about
did
that the
this.
2 meetings ago, but okay, so let's go through it again. Just tell you the seawalls that are really badly damaged that need work. The vegetation that's out there that's not proper, that's interfering.
How high they are.
No, I know all the
elevation,
things that he's gonna do. It's
The
just,
elevation.
what
of
are
the
we
sea-
gonna get like physically that instead of just him coming and verbally saying?
Well, he can write a report.
Exactly. So
Right,
that's.
so, yeah,
Should we be worried about it or not?
give us the addresses that are really a concern. I mean, if we don't want to do it, fine. I just was following up.
So this is more for informational purposes? Is that what the board, is this the
To be-
intent here?
What to do.
Yeah.
Okay. We have regulations in our code, I think I mentioned, about seawalls. They have to be at base flood elevation or higher. We have a lot of seawalls in the town. I've been out on the marine patrol vessel many times because we had an accessory marine facility ordinance that the town was working on for 3 years. So I brought the planning board members out twice. The commissioners have been out with me on the marine patrol vessel. We do have a lot of seawalls that are low at 3 feet. On the west side of A1A, the base flood elevation does vary, but in a lot of areas, it's around 6 feet pending 7. So there's a lot of people that are below that. It's not a mandate that you have to bring your seawall up, but if you're gonna get a new seawall, it has to be in compliance with the code. So yeah, you go out on the waterways, you'll see some of the seawalls, you'll see little cracks in them. You'll see some of them not looking that great. You'll see the new ones that are much higher. Again, if anything, if the board will move forward with anything, it would be basically an educational outreach.
Yes.
We have provisions in the code. It's about educating people about the seawalls, but I'll let you know, I process those applications. I bring them to the planning board. People who are on the waterways, whether it's a canal or the intercoastal, they know about their seawall. They know that during high tides that people calling the water's coming up. So they're looking into raising their seawall. most people are aware of what's going on with their seawalls. That's the input I've received from people.
Okay.
Some people are hesitant because it's a high cost, and especially some of the older multifamily, the fourplexes. Those are built in the 70s and it's a big cost, and some of them are hesitating to do it. Again, it's not a mandate. So some people are in a little bit of a conundrum because of the cost. But again, I think if you're going to work on this at all, it would be, again, more of an educational outreach. But I would say most people kind of know the status of their seawalls. I get the feedback
So
from
you're
people all the time.
questioning the value of this, basically. Maybe we should just put it on the back
Not-
burner.
We
Oh.
put it on the back burner. I was just following up.
Yeah,
It's
no,
not-
no, by all means, as I said, the town manager already gave me the direction that that would be something that the commission would have to consider if, again, you're going to go out on the Marine Patrol vessel. But I'm just giving you a little bit of background because I deal with those
Yeah.
types of applications for 5 years, so.
I mean,
Yeah.
sorry, go ahead.
So I believe that we are gonna be flooded in the future from the intracoastal coming in, not
Right.
the ocean side.
Right.
So if we don't do something to become more aware of what's likely to happen, we're gonna be in a lot of trouble.
Right. If you look at the town's climate change vulnerability assessment, I've mentioned this many times in the board meetings. The town is part of a coastal resiliency partnership. There's a link on the town webpage. That partnership did a climate change vulnerability assessment 2 years ago, and tidal flooding was a variable. Actually, it wasn't they call it a threat. There were 12 threats. So tidal flooding, and then all the municipalities that are part of the partnership, which are really pretty much everyone on the coast, southeast in Palm Beach County, including the county, tidal flooding was a threat. So,
But more than tidal flooding is sea level rise.
well, yeah,
On
sea
top-
level rise, if you read that report, it's over 200 pages, a climate change vulnerability assessment. Sea level rise is obviously touched upon. Town of Highland Beach has a high vulnerability for storm surge, which should be no surprise to anybody. There was also a threat of rain-induced flooding. All these threats are documented, and the vulnerability of Highland Beach is well documented in the report. Again, there's a link on our webpage. I recommend all of you to look at it. It will give you a lot of informational,
Yeah. that's-
background on these types of
we
threats.
should all look at it
So.
as homework.
So do we want to go ahead with this educational piece, or do we just want to focus on the dunes for this year?
Yeah, we could do the dunes.
Can
I
we
just
vote?
was following up. it's not
No,
written
I
in
like
stone,
that.
but.
No, no, because
let's
you took the
concentrate on
action
the
item, yeah.
dunes. And that's my opinion. If, we're doing too many things, maybe.
Should read the report and maybe
What
something
are
in there
you
will tell us.
doing?
we ought to
Protecting
get-
yourself.
Yeah, I read the
Well,
report. It
have
doesn't really specify.
The other side is worse.
I know.
It just says it's a threat. It's very
I'll see.
big. It's a low.
Okay.
I spent my whole life studying
That's-
intracoastal.
So shall we park it for now?
I'm fine
Because,
with
because
that.
if the
Let's do some more
homeowners,
research and
Okay.
let park it for right now, because it seems like we've got too many things. I was just following up on something that I was asked, maybe 3, maybe 2 meetings ago, I don't remember.
no, it is a very important
Yeah,
topic for all the
so-
reasons
so
you
let's,
mentioned. It's just if the homeowners are already aware and don't have the financial means to do anything, and they legally cannot be forced to do it, then why do we educate people if they already know? That's
We
kind
already
of,
know about the dunes too, but we beat on the dunes all the time.
no, but they know about the dunes, but they don't know how easy it is to fix the dunes. A seawall is $200,000. I mean, you know better. You've done it, but I would call it a $200,000 job. The dunes is a $5,000 job. It can be. You know what I mean? So
Well,
it's,
Okay, so let's not go crazy. I mean, I'm willing to park it. Let's get done what we have to get done. Let's all look at the website and see the climate change and that report that's on there and do a little bit more research. Let's do more research on it. That's another homework piece, I guess.
Right.
Teach me
Okay.
like the person you.
so action item is more research.
I will.
Look at the
And we
report.
will put it as an agenda item for the next meeting, but it's not a priority right now. And it's not because it's not important, it's just because the town just informed us that most owners already know if they have a problem with the seawall. If they didn't, then this would be an absolutely utmost priority,
Right.
right? Good, so going through the agenda, let's try to find out where we are, I'm sorry. Yeah, we're done with new business. So I think we can come to agenda item 10, announcements, February 11, 1 p.m., special magistrate hearing. Do you want to say anything about the special magistrate hearing, Town Planner Allen?
Nope.
Nope. Okay. March 4, 1:30, the next Town Commission meeting. So we can